Good morning, YouTube. Jungle Runner 762 here. Today, what I'm going to show you is an old fence. Now, I'm not going to show you an old fence, but I am going to show you what you can do with old fencing. In my backyard, I actually had two backyards. It was separated by a center fence, which has seen better days, as you can tell from this shot right here. And this thing is just beat up, destroyed, it's fallen over. So what I did was I repurposed this entire fence. This is one of the last remaining sections of it right here that it hasn't been torn down yet, but eventually it'll be torn down and it will become something more like this. What you're looking at here is that old fence repurposed into a raised bed garden. See, I left the fence post standing there and ran rabbit wire across it for trellis. But basically all I did was take the 2x4 backing that was on the old fence, cut it into 16 by 16-inch pieces here, made a box out of it, and then just skinned it out with the old boards from the old fence. Now underneath that, I didn't fill it completely with quality soil. It's filled to about right here, just over halfway, with debris like this that I've raked up out of this backyard here, because literally I haven't touched this backyard for years, probably 5 or 6 years since I bought this property. Over there you see that large pile of downed limbs and brush. That's all stuff that came from the lilac bushes are starting to pop there. Came from these large elm trees that just surround the entire property. But I piled them up over there, and they seem to be a great habitat for birds and other little critters that hang out in the yard, insects that feed the birds. So I'm just gonna let it sit, do nothing with it, maybe do some plantings around the base of it, and just sort of let it evolve on its own. But anyway, back to the repurposing of the fence here. Have this great garden bed. Not sure of the total length of it because it was sort of a piece it together as you go project. I didn't really measure anything other than the initial frame edging for the box. So there you see at least half of what I've done, or at least I would say that's about a third of what I've done with the repurposing of the old fence. And now I'm going to show you the other side of that project, what I've done with the other half of the yard and the fence that came from that. That became my new chicken pen. Prior to, I had this little hen house here that had a corral on it about the same size as that chicken coop. But what you see now is probably 4 times the size of the area they had to move around in before I built this thing. And all this is one good side of the fence that was coming out about 12 feet. Took down one of the other panels of the fence. Took down one of the other middle panels of the fence. Turned it into the other wall. Used that old gate back there to make a gate for it. And yeah, now they have a 8-foot by 12-foot pen, all made. This entire row here, everything you see here is all out of repurposed items, recycled items, materials that were salvaged from other projects to other places and brought here to create this. I'm gonna walk you around the other side here. Little garden bed here, just with a random scattering of seeds. But on the other side of the fence here with the coop, compost pile over there doing its thing, probably needs turned. Anyway, on the other side of where I'm keeping the two larger birds are my new birds. Snowflake there in the front, and there's two Ancona chickens and two Silver Lace Wyandottes in here. And this structure was actually the outdoor area that was attached to that. And all I did was separate them and put this up against the fence over here. So when the birds are large enough to introduce in with the other birds, all I'm going to do is cut a doorway through that fence, so it'll actually enlarge the total area for the chickens again. That way, you know, depending upon where the sun's at in the day, they can move from one side of the fence to the other and have a little shade or an area to nest or roost in and cool off. But yeah, that's what we're looking at here in the backyard with the repurposing projects at the Jungle Runner compound. Walk over real quick, just show you around the garden a bit. Here's the raspberry canes that were planted last year, starting to pop again, showing some growth. Lilac bushes were trimmed down, cut to about half their height, to try and encourage some new undergrowth, fill them out a little bit. Looks like it's doing quite well here in late April. The raised bed hoop houses that I made at the end of last year. See, we got things coming in already. This was replanted actually in January. This is garlic right here. It's garlic starting to pop up. Onions, also planted in January, doing extremely well. There in the back, some random scattering of lettuce. I think there's some radishes in there and whatever carryover seeds from what was planted in there at the end of last season. Spinach, that's growing extremely well. Just again, random scattered seeds over there. I'm gonna walk over here to the other patches and show you what's going on. Not a whole lot yet. It's still pretty early in the grow season, but we're just out here drinking coffee and walking around the yard, so I figure I'll show you what's up. Strawberries with a ton of lamb's ear weeds starting in there. That's alright though. I'd pull those out and feed them to the birds. Birds love those things. I don't know why, but they sure love picking at them. Some random sunflower seeds that birds probably carried over there, or the rain washed them up and piled them over there. Something. There's a bunch of them sprouting. And there's the bean patches over here. See, I already got peas coming up. Those were planted, I think, in January as well. Just plopped them in off of, those actually came off of a pea plant that I grew in the windowsill. And I never ate the pods, so I just dried them out and plugged them into the ground and they grew. So there you have it. Brief walkthrough of the projects going on here. It's late April in the Rocky Mountains, and things are starting to warm up to where we can actually get some things done around here without freezing to death, without killing our plants. So yeah, he's a loud one. So there you have it. Backyard projects and repurposing with Jungle Runner 762. Thanks for watching, guys. Shoes hanging with the chickens.